guys. Thank you. So we have a very interesting set of brands and folks here on this panel wherein we're going to talk about customer experience. So first, I'm going to divide the brands and the way, the diversity in the brand here, right? So we have two established brands here. One is Pepe Jeans and represented by Sorav, and Rohiet representing Tommy and Calvin from the Arvind point of view. So we're going to have a very different set of questions because you guys have done a lot of things in the past. There is already a brand recall value, more established brand. Then we have Mr. Akhil from Parafait, which is the innerwear category in the women's segment. Very upcoming, very hot right now. Reliance acquiring MAS brands and Clovia and a lot of big brands coming in the innerwear category. And then we have Jaimin representing Barcelona. Very different business model, primarily franchise-based, going very gung-ho on B2B side in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. So there's going to be a very interesting insight coming from him from the consumer experience. And then we have Shishir from Kalki Fashion. He has gotten himself in the most complicated game of Indian ethnic in the women's category. Like if I talk about, I would say there are only two big brands in this country, in this category, which will be Fab India and Manyavar Mohe. And there's a lot of this space, innerwear, and I think Indian ethnic as a category is becoming really hot with ABFRL investing in a lot of ethnic brands like Tarun Talani and Shantanu Nikhil and creating that national image now. So a lot of different questions will be coming from the consumer experience point of view. So we have one franchise B2B model, we have two established brands, we have two hot categories which will be coming, which is innerwear and Indian ethnic fashion. So my first question will go to Akhil, right? And I still remember the days when, when it came to innerwear, there was only one brand which we all used to think about was, can anyone name that brand? Jockey, right? And suddenly from the last few years, we have seen US Polo, Van Hussein, Calvin Klein, and a lot of D2C brand and Parafait also coming into the picture, right? But, and it's such an essential topic. You think about it, innerwear is a category, like I see somebody's shirt or jacket, I compliment it. Like I go tell other people about this particular thing that I bought a Zara jacket or I went to Blackberries to purchase something, right? But innerwear as a category, I am telling you, nobody goes and talks to their friends or families about the kind of comfort, the kind of things which we need to look at it. And think about it, that's something which we wear every day. That needs to be the most comforting factor, but in terms of the education, in terms of the recall value, it's still a big taboo, right? And the biggest problem comes in any sort of customer acquisition and retention. My customer has to talk about my products to my friends, right? I may have the best CRM, I may have the best website, I may have the best store, but how do you break that taboo? Because that essentially is the most important component in this category. So what are your thoughts on that particular bit?
Well, very good morning to everyone and all the seniors, all colleagues and all friends. Once again, very good morning. So the lingerie innerwear category is really very different category, and this category basically, if you look at, it is completely on the last. Trending was very traditionally going in the market last many years. If you look at from 10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back. So lingerie as a innerwear, this product is always undercover by the taboo, and the taboo we call like as a education. Personally, I realize when we talk about the customer experience about the innerwear category and all, so the taboo means the confident and the comfort, and this comes from the education. So last 5 to 10 years, if you look at the in India market, especially where the big market, huge population, and this category require, it's essential. So suddenly the education start, and suddenly when we talk about the women empowerment, somehow I felt education is also very important. And is the education contributing in a very different way in terms of customer experience, especially for an innerwear category. Now, because of the social media last 5 years, digital platform, very strong AI artificial intelligence with the human interface. So now the women as a category and the male, whenever they are very, very open about, the lingerie experience in terms of size and fitting. So if you look at 30 years back, so the very simple steps, they are going to the shop, भैया दिखा दीजिए जरा. So they said 32 ले लीजिए, 34, 36, that's it. It means the shopkeeper was the decision maker for any product, for especially innerwear category. Now women, because of the education, because of the lot of experience, they understand what is the health, how we can take care about the health, because this is an innerwear beauty. And the innerwear beauty always gives a very strong confidence and comfort. Then it comes in a different kind of result that's called outerwear beauty. So I personally suggest the customer experience right now is really very amazing in terms of lingerie, and lingerie is a very good example. Innerwear category, suddenly the booming because of the good education coming from the AI, you can say AI, digital, social and all, women, men, they start talking themselves in terms of the different kind of experience about the comfort and, confidence. I think that's the...
I think one of the things which digital have solved is that, imparting education about talking about your product specifically one-to-one to the customer has become much easier rather than before when there was no way to reach out to the customer. And I still remember when Van Heusen was launching their innerwear segment and I had a meeting with the CEO, the kind of insight which he had about underwears, like I had no idea that, there is so much of science and thought process which goes in the innerwear category. So looking forward to how the growth and how this trend is going to be changing in this particular bit.
So 3 years back, Parafait is a global brand. So last 3-4 years back, I was looking in the market in India. There is a one category, it is not completely served and the tapped by 100%. That's called plus size category. And that category is really, it's not, it's look like very scattered and it's not covered by somewhere, by any brand, either by any individual who can say, yes, I have a strong, solid acquisition rate for an innerwear market for a plus size category. So the Parfait is a global brand. They are very established in the worldwide, especially in the US. So this brand I bring in India through foreign direct investment in India, and now we are catering to the market from cup size D to K cup. So when somebody asks me, who is your competition? I always say, no, we are not a competition, we are the complement. It means whatever player right now, they are selling they are fulfilling the requirement for innerwear category. So once they stop selling, then we start selling. So it means कि जहाँ आपकी line खत्म होती है, वहाँ से हम शुरू करते हैं. That's the simple.
Super. Cool. So next question is for Rohit, right? Everybody knows Tommy Calvin, right? No need. The fans are here. So you are come with a fan following, huh? Super. So established brand, insane amount of customer loyalty, and I have known your loyalty team also, wherein we've discussed about sometimes numbers saying that, hey, you know what, maybe we don't have to do anything, any sort of intervention, because Tommy and Calvin clients are really loyal to the brand. You guys have a group of companies, have implemented every sort of data structuring possible in the organization. You guys have a technology company under the gambit wherein, a lot of, work and is being done by them also, and a lot of knowledge flows for them. So what next? Like, we talk about consumer experience, we talk about store experience, we talk about retention, but I feel that Tommy and Calvin as a brand has for over a decade because of their global presence and just because the recall value is high. What next for the brand? Like, where do you go from here?
A few things. The first natural progression would be that we sell from offline and the online world, and currently the benefits that we offer to our loyal customers that they get at the offline store is not available at the online platform. So the first natural step would be to get that extended to that customer. The same guy who's shopping online is able to get those benefits that we are able to offer to offline customers. So that I see as a short-term natural progression. Well, the desire could be various other things. I was talking about before we were discussing if I could sell a product, which is, let's say, what Nike did as an NFT, to somebody which is not a real tangible product, but if I'm able to sell it to him at 10 times their average bill value at my store, that individual is automatically so invested into that product that he becomes the biggest brand ambassador. Now, he's put his money behind a product which he can't touch, feel, smell. So the only way he's going to talk about that product is by talking about it. And so that could be an opportunity we look at it. The other thing is also when we look at a lot of our customers, our price points are 3,500, 4,000 rupees average MRP. And the pyramid, we are slightly at the higher level of the pyramid. But we can start engaging people who are much younger. If we had a game format, if I had something on that digital world where there's a lot of people spending their entire time in those mediums, and if I could start engaging them and start building a loyalty around, not necessarily product, but it's as simple as building a loyalty around an IPL team. So if you start engaging with it and you start doing something around that brand on the online world, you start getting attached to it. And once they start making that money, they'll hopefully start spending the money. So yeah, that would be a few things that I could think of.
I find that very interesting concept that like most of the established brand around the world, I think that trend is yet to start in India, that they're trying to get these brand ambassadors invest into NFTs like a obnoxiously high cost. And it is a beautiful way of making brand ambassador, right? You make them pay money for a token and they end up talking about you over and over again. And there you have like 50, 100 customers who have done that particular bit. It's insanely good for the brand, right? Like such amazing recall value which you can create from that.
Well, that surely is a wish list. We're not there yet, but yes.
Well, I mean, it's a trend. It's a trend which is starting. Like there are, as you mentioned, Nike has already started that bit on that particular bit. But my question comes to you is now this Gen Z, which we call it, and like I am assuming after Gen Z, I don't know what Gen is going to come because it's literally the last alphabet in our dictionary. But how are you tackling, how are you thinking about the future of Tommy and Calvin in India, considering a lot of D2C brands are coming into picture? I know Arvind has and now concept wherein they're already consolidating all these brands on the online portal, but are you not feeling the heat from these new age brand which is coming who are trying to capture different niche? And I'm sure there will be some brand which will come after your niche because it's high network individual people who make certain amount of money. So what are your thoughts on that particular bit?
So our core fundamentals remain the same. Give an offering to the customer which is unparalleled, something that they cannot resist, and use all forms of medium to build that desire or build that interaction of that customer. That we would like to stick to that. And let's see, I'm sure the competition is doing their work right. We'll have to find new ways. But I think for the moment, the short term, we see this as our plan.
Super. Thank you so much, Rohit, for that. Jaimin. Yes, very different model. Selling through franchisees. I think over 90 plus franchisees you have now? 92 stores, right? And going gung-ho on B2B side, wherein you guys have released an app wherein the buyers can purchase product directly from you guys. And primarily in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So what's the concept? Because franchisee, the biggest challenge I feel is that you have no control in terms of the experience of customers when they get in, right? Those are not controlled by this, controlled by the franchisees. And when we talk about customer retention or customer experience or acquisition or any such strategy, so for anyone sitting in this room, if we have to create that model, so how do you keep controls around it? How do you ensure that everywhere, any city, and especially tier 2, tier 3 city, wherein the connectivity is also a problem, unlike a metro city where you can just take a flight and visit your store. So how do you ensure the experience of the customer is seamless? And what's with this B2B model which you're going after? Like what's the thought process? Because everybody's talking about D2C, right? Online, owning the consumers. You are one of the very few brands who are saying, no, we'll go the B2B route even though you have a B2C component. So a little thought process on that will be great.
So I'll say, इंडिया में करीबन 4-5 लाख गारमेंट की दुकानें हैं, ठीक है, जो मल्टी ब्रांड आउटलेट्स है, छोटी दुकानें हैं, वो टायर 2 टायर 3 में ज़्यादा है, वो अभी भी होलसेल में माल खरीद के बेचते हैं. जैसे I'll be precise, everyone can relate it to, जॉकी का पूरा माल मल्टी ब्रांड आउटलेट से बिकता है. वो रिटेलर्स आज भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के थ्रू माल खरीदते, होलसेल में खरीदते, सैंपल देखते, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर को कॉल करते, फिर माल मंगाते. हमने रिटेल ई कॉमर्स को, मतलब रिटेल को ई कॉमर्स पे ले गए, हम उसको डिजिटाइज कर दिया, बट अब होलसेल मार्केट को भी डिजिटाइज होना है. होलसेल मार्केट भी अब ई कॉमर्स पे आएगा और उसी के लिए अमेजोन और बहुत सारी कंपनीज, इवन उड़ान है, सब ने दे हैव एंटर्ड इनटू द मार्केट, दे हैव लॉन्च्ड देयर एप्स एंड दे आर ट्राइंग टू कवर द मार्केट. Now what we did is we launched this Barcelona B2B app only for the apparel category to cover up this wholesale market. So we don't wanted to start with the traditional way कि distributor appoint करो फिर वो retailer को देगा. We thought के brand और retailer direct क्यों काम नहीं कर सकते, हमको distributor क्यों चाहिए. अब इंडिया में अगर हम 4-5 लाख गारमेंट की दुकानों की बात करें तो उसका नेटवर्क खड़ा करने में कोई भी ब्रांड को 5-7 साल आराम से लग जाते हैं और वो भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के थ्रू. एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल इज द, मतलब कोई भी कंपनी के लिए वो बैकबोन होता है, वो चैनल के ऊपर ही कंपनी चल रही है. प्रोडक्ट इज सेकंड, वो चैनल है तो प्रोडक्ट चल रहा है. सो वी थॉट के लेट्स क्रिएट दिस नेटवर्क ऑफ स्टोर्स फॉर बार्सिलोना, जहाँ पे बार्सिलोना का माल डायरेक्ट स्टोर्स से पे सप्लाई हो और कस्टमर तक पहुँचे. हम जब हम खुद के स्टोर्स की बात करते हैं, जो हमारे 92 स्टोर्स हैं, वहाँ पे कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस क्रिएट करना तो भी इजी है बिकॉज इट इज इन आवर कंट्रोल, स्टोर्स आर आवर इन कंट्रोल. बट जब हम मल्टी ब्रांड स्टोर्स की बात करते हैं, लाइक इनरवेयर कैटेगरी में जो आपका माल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स के थ्रू जाता है, या और अरविंद, कैल्विन क्लेन और टॉमी जिनका मल्टी ब्रांड स्टोर्स में जाता है, वहाँ पे यू डोंट हैव एनी कंट्रोल. वो स्टोर के ओनर पे उसको जैसा कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस देना है वो देगा. सो दैट इज द रियल चैलेंज वेर यू वांट योर कस्टमर टू गेट द रियल एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ योर ब्रांड, क्योंकि वो स्टोर पे आपका कोई कंट्रोल ही नहीं है. सो फॉर दैट हमारा ये ऐप से जब हम रिटेलर को ऑनबोर्ड करते हैं, आई विल शेयर वन एग्जांपल. हमने बहुत एक छोटी सी चीज़ की, जैसे हम जितने भी प्रोडक्ट्स मल्टी ब्रांड स्टोर्स में सप्लाई करते हैं, हम उसके हर एक पीस के साथ एक बार्सिलोना का कैरी बैग देते हैं, विच वी आस्क रिटेलर कि जब भी आप बार्सिलोना का कोई प्रोडक्ट कस्टमर को सेल करो तो आप बार्सिलोना के कैरी बैग में ही दो, ना कि उनके खुद के कैरी बैग्स में. सो दिस इज हाउ कस्टमर गेट्स एंगेज टू द ब्रांड. कि यूजुअली कभी भी मल्टी ब्रांड आउटलेट में ब्रांड कैरी बैग्स नहीं होते. द कस्टमर गेट्स द लोकल. आप जॉकी भी अगर लोकल से खरीदोगे वो उसका खुद का कैरी बैग देगा. आपने प्रोडक्ट तो जॉकी ले लिया, लेकिन आपको वो फील नहीं आया है अभी भी, बिकॉज यू आर नॉट कैरिंग दैट कैरी बैग ऑफ द ब्रांड. एंड कस्टमर के लिए वो एक फील होती है कि ब्रांड का कैरी बैग आई एम टेकिंग इट. सो वी डिड दिस स्ट्रेटेजी. सो हमारे खुद के स्टोर्स में कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस क्रिएट करना इजी है. वी हैव ऑल द कंट्रोल, द सोर्सेज, वी हैव ऑल द सोर्सेज. बट जब मल्टी ब्रांड आउटलेट्स में जाते हैं तो वहाँ पे रियल चैलेंज. सो वी आर डूइंग दिस काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रेटेजीज एंड दिस कैन बी डन. more and more of this kind of activities can create a good experience for the customer in a multi brand outlet. So lastly हमने अभी 3 महीने पहले ही ऐप लॉन्च किया था and we have been successfully taking on retailers.
मेरे को लगता है कि आपको ना, यू शुड लॉन्च अ टेक कंपनी इन दिस स्पेस ओनली, कि भाई डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बिजनेस को किस तरह से स्ट्रीमलाइन करके डिजिटाइज करना है. आई थिंक दैट इटसेल्फ इज अ वेरी वेरी बिग प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट व्हिच यू कैन सॉल्व.
बट इफ यू सी इन एफएमसीजी सेक्टर, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स को हटाने के लिए सब कंपनीज आ गई है. इफ यू, आई विल टेल रिलायंस चाहता ही नहीं कि डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर रहे इंडिया में. रिलायंस रहे और डायरेक्ट रिटेलर रहे, और वो एफएमसीजी सेक्टर में रिलायंस शायद 2-3 साल में कर भी देगा. तो अभी यही चीज अपरेल सेक्टर में भी आना है, दूसरे सारे सेक्टर्स में भी धीमे धीमे आना है, क्योंकि डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर का जो मार्जिन है वो अब कंपनीज को कंपटीशन की वजह से कहीं ना कहीं प्रॉफिट्स पे बहुत ज़्यादा हैम्पर करता है. एंड विद द टेक्नोलॉजी कमिंग इन, ब्रांड्स कैन सी कि हम रिटेलर्स को डायरेक्टली ले सकते हैं ऑन बोर्ड. जब टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं थी तो रिटेलर्स को कंट्रोल करना डिफिकल्ट था. अब जब टेक प्लेटफॉर्म्स इतना ईजी है, एंड इवन लास्ट 10 years में रिटेल ई कॉमर्स इतना ग्रो हुआ है, तो अब जो टायर 2 टायर 3 के कंज्यूमर्स है वो भी ई कॉमर्स पे आ गए हैं. मतलब दे आर रेडी टू ऑर्डर. हम रिटेलर्स के पास जाते हैं, दे आर, वो ऐसे रिएक्ट नहीं करते कि ये क्या है, हम नहीं करेंगे एक्स. दे आर रेडी टू इंस्टॉल द ऐप, दे आर रेडी टू ऑर्डर फ्रॉम द ऐप. मतलब उनके लिए कितना हेजल फ्री प्रोसेस है. दे डोंट हैव टू कॉल एनीवन, दे कैन जस्ट ऑर्डर द प्रोडक्ट इन बल्क, 50 पीस 100 पीस जितना उसको मंगाना है, एंड विद इन 3 days or 4 days डायरेक्टली स्टोर पे.
नहीं, I agree, and I think the next wave of development for this country is going to come from these tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 city. And I come from a one very small town in Gonda, in UP, which is named Gonda, and I know how things are progressing there, and I know all the big brands like be it Peter England, Louis Philippe, Maneuver, like every brand is being setting up shop in such a small town, because those are the markets which are evolving. Those are the people, because of digitization and information through internet, is being able to evolve. So there is going to be the next wave which is going to be coming there.
अभी भी 1000 से ज़्यादा districts है जहाँ पे कोई brand shop नहीं है.
Yeah, agree.
So this space is still vacant.
Rohit, आपको क्या लगता है? Tommy and Calvin should go take that route of tier 2, tier 3, or still consolidating in like the big...
We're even close to about 70 cities that we have stores at. So that's been our, if you want to use the word strategy, for the last 10 years.
Yeah, super, super. So coming to Shishir, right? Indian ethnic as a space, very, very, very complex, especially in the women category, wherein if I go to North Delhi, there will be a different side of fashion. If I go to South Delhi, it will be different, West and East. So in a small, in Delhi itself, there is so much of variation. And here when we talk about creating a national brand, right, and very, very few brands have been able to achieve that. How does the entire process of design, merchandising, because I feel that's the most important component in your business when it comes to consumer retention or acquisition or experience. Like, so how do you go about thinking that particular bit?
So I'll go back to about 12, 13 years back when we started our offline store. We started a store at Worli in Bombay, and then we opened a store in Santa Cruz in Bombay. And then we realized this problem, that even in what sells in Worli and Santa Cruz is different. They are only maybe like 5 kilometers away. And then we opened a store in a mall in Viviana in Thane. So we were a regional brand. But we quickly realized that there is a problem of different collection in each store. Each customer is looking for something different. And that's when we started online. It's been about 8-9 years we've been online. And we majorly sell to all cities. Like online, you can sell to anywhere, right? And we sell more internationally. So how we have tried to target this is by word of mouth. That is one way that we acquire customers, by giving good quality and the latest trends, latest fashion. So we have 21 designers who design, and they are keeping track of what is in trend and whatever is happening, and we do fashion shows and stuff, right? And the second way we target customer is by personalizing. So we do 1:1 personalization. When you come on our website, the products you are looking at, the experience you get and someone else is different. So every customer gets to see what they are liking and the color preference that they have. This is possible by technology, using AI, ML, being able to give recommendations to the customer and then showing them what they like, right? So through Facebook marketing, your email retargeting, we are able to show them recommendations as per their preference, and that's how we've been able to showcase products as per their taste.
Got it. So one question which always runs in my head, right, and especially when it comes to very ethnic brand, wherein a lot of my thought process, the way I have always seen people around me dress, a lot of influencing factor comes in. And there is a concept of boutique shops in India, right, wherein every local market, or if I stay in GK, there will be 6 to 7 boutique shops which I'll be visiting for my ethnic wear specifically. And I am assuming across the country, right, be it south or north, that's the thought process. And why we do that is because it's a very personal thing for me. So how do you think technologies will be able to bring that personal equation in such a complex mindset when it comes to ethnic wear?
I think it's more about the brand. I think how Manyavar has built a brand, getting the celebrities on board. So by having a good brand presence, having some good brand ambassador, I think that's how you can pull the customer towards you, right? Compared to some other boutique which doesn't have that big brand name. That's how I think you would solve that.
Would be great if you can talk about some of the failures you had in this journey. I know you've been working really hard to establish this brand. It would be great if you can talk about some of the failures which you have faced.
So we're still figuring out a business model. I know it's been 12 years. But so we started with offline, and now we've got online, and now we feel that we have figured it out. So we tried a mall as well. We had a standalone store. But now we have kind of figured out our business model is omni-channel, where we have online and offline working together. We have big stores which are about 5,000, 10,000 square feet, where we are able to give the complete experience. So till we don't give the complete wedding experience, I don't think we can sell in a smaller stores. And having that online, which is able to give the scale to us. So that's really helped us balance the two. So, but we're still figuring out, and that's one thing I want to give to my team, that we've been able to change so quickly. Most brands either stay offline or they online, but we were an offline brand and we went online, and we've been successfully doing that. So I think the company has this change culture which they take very quickly, and I'm grateful for that.
Got it. And what next now for you?
So we would want to go international. We want to open stores in New York, London. We get a lot of customers, so we want to go
Taking
global.
Bharat to the world. Huh?
Yes, yes.
No, I think we are in a beautiful, beautiful spot at this time, right? There was a time when I know, and we were a technology company, and I remember a time wherein, internationally people used to look at for only IT services, and now we are at a point wherein, we are truly creating amazing products and in technology, in fashion, and selling it across the world. So I think it's a beautiful time to be in getting that exposure to the outside world. So kudos to that and all the best for that.
Thank you.
Yes. So finally coming to you, Sorav. And I think I asked you this question. I'm going to ask you again because I think a lot of people will have this question in their head. Does everybody, so we have Levi's, we have Pepe jeans, and we have other brands, in the industry. Does everybody know what are the parameters on which you decide what denim to buy? Like I have my favorite brand as, Levi's. Right? But I would love to understand how do you go about deciding the USP for a denim clothing, right? What's the thought process which comes? How does Pepe incorporate those elements into your branding, into your messaging, which goes out to the customers? So it would be great if, I think a lot of us have this question, and I've discussed this with multiple retailers also. So it would be great if you can shed some light on that particular topic.
So two things there. What 2020 has really taught us is, digitization when we talk about it. The customers are moving to the online platforms, and that is where we have to be, and that is where the engagement has to be. So when we talk about our USP, first we have to speak about, reach the consumer, and digital platforms, play a very, very important role for us. Second is on the product innovation part. Our products like Visor Wash, which uses less than a liter of water, for completing an entire garment, which is unheard of in the garment industry. So ensuring that, what we are doing on the product innovation reaches the consumer. You shared your example, you coming from Gonda. Today, there are a lot of consumers which you yourself said that, they are online, they really want to explore and, experience newer products. That is where our pitch comes in. When we reach to the consumer, explain them how we are differentiated from a Levi's or Jack and Jones or a Spiker today. So that plays a very, very important role, which is the product communication part. And that's the key. See, on the fits part, you will always talk about that, which fit you as a brand are, suggesting to the consumer. But at the same point of time, with the sustainability and ethical fashion gaining ground, it is very, very important that you reach to the consumer and you reach to the customer. And, he sees you not only as an inspirational brand just because of the brand value, but also what you're doing for climate, for society at large. So that is where our USP comes in.
So I have a follow-up question on this. So every brand has a way to reach out to the consumer, right? I can set up an ad. I can just set up a Facebook page, start an ad, and start reaching out to a certain consumer. But if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it, everybody able to sell it, everybody would be successful, and we'll have crores of rupees in our account, right? But it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Right? So what's the secret sauce? What is that element which you guys are utilizing in terms of reaching out to your consumer, which is making them come back to you or in terms of engage with you?
See, you have to map the consumer journey right from the word go. So today a consumer, whether he is an online consumer or an offline consumer, till the time you read, and that is why data comes in big, till the time you know your consumer well, you know your customer, and you know your product well, it won't happen. So there is no quick fix, honestly. If you'll ask, all the retailers in the room today, there is no quick fix. You have to read your data and you have to know your customer. There is no other way. And that is how you have to customize when we talk about customer retention. That is where customization plays a very, very key role today, more than ever it did. You know, at 10%, 15% off, gone are the days. I mean, you know, happy birthday, take a 10% off. Doesn't really work for most of us. We have approximately 50 plus messages on every Saturday and Sunday. How many do you read?
Yeah.
Not even 10%, right?
Yeah.
So customization plays a very, very key role, and that will only come in when you know your customer well, when you read your data. And that is why data analytics or business intelligence has become so big today.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way. Like whenever I talk to Rohit and Sorav, they talk about understanding the consumer behavior, because there is already so much of data available with you guys that you can go deep and understand this. So my question to you is, like, if I have to start the brand, like I don't know who my consumer, I have this hypothesis in my head that, you know, this is my target group and this is what I'm going to go after, right? So what do you do then? Because then you don't have the data, you can't really understand the consumer, and Akhil spoke about how we have to educate. He's not talking about even understanding the BRE, he's like, I have to just educate my customer, right? So how do you go about if I have to start a business?
Is breaking your paradigms. That is very, very important. As I said, there is no set formula, there is no set route. You have to think out of the box. You have to be where the consumer is today. If your consumer is online, you can't really have store at a Linking Road or a CP or a GK as you mentioned. You have to be where your consumer is. If you don't do that, believe you me, no business strategy is going to work for you. That's I mean, you know, pretty much the key as far as my
I can take that. So I think when we went online and we figured, like, you know, we want to sell to international markets, what we did was we started talking to the customer who was buying from us, and then we started to figure who is really our brand advocate, who's loving a brand, who's going and referring us, right? And then you target that customer, and that's how I think you try to scale. So you have to figure out who your audience is and who really loves and appreciates your brand.
Akhil, will you like to add something on that?
Nothing. I mean, everyone's covered a lot of, you know, area and a lot of, you know, aspects. Especially, he said, you know, out of the box. I always, you know, feel like out of the box, everyone is looking out of the box for each and every area and corner. But somehow I felt, you know, when we talk about any brand and any growth for any business and any product and any sector and all, so always, you know, the three things always very, you know, hello, yeah. So there is a one traffic, there is a second conversion and third experience. These three, like this triangle look like very, whenever you look at from any angle from A, B, C, it look like, okay, 30 degree, 30 degree, 30 degree, right? But ultimately it become a traffic, sale, conversion and the experience. But somehow I realized these three aspects are in a very different zone. So the traffic needs some different kind of strategy. But experience have no, I don't think any kind of, you know, strategy and all. Experience means right now in the market, online experience is very different and offline experience is very different. That's completely huge difference. There is when we talk about feel and touch, and there is one talk about virtually understanding, right? So when online, it really requires a lot of education, lot of image, creative and the understanding. When the real life practical experience we portray as a virtual platform and then people correlate in the day-to-day life, then I think it's gonna very different kind of strategy for a product. And definitely once the consumer will settle down with the brand, then somehow I know about my category and all, the plus size segment is a very different. Once the consumer and the women, they understand the concept, what really they need, then they will settle down with your brand and your services. And somehow in the last end I say, Puspa jhukega nahi.
Nice one. So that would be the end of our panel discussion. I would request the audience, if you have any questions for the panel, we can do that. We still have 5 to 7 minutes left right now. Yes.
Hello, yeah. So I wanted to ask this question, that when we say about the customization, that it is going to be a new thing in the coming years, we are actually garment manufacturers. So how do you feel that manufacturing sector is going to affect? Because now currently we just get an order of maybe 500 units and we have to send it to the brand and it is distributed among the different sizes and that is predetermined. But when we say about the customization, then is it going to be like the brand will send the customer inquiry to the manufacturer, or like how is the brand going to tackle it?
So, I mean, there the backward integration is very, very important. You being dependent on the brand for all the market insight won't really solve the puzzle for you. That is where the backward integration will play a very, very big role, wherein you need to have your own, market insight available with you, because till the time you're ahead of the curve and you're there and, you are solving the unsaid need of your consumer and you're understanding them, that will play the key role. So you need to basically understand the unsaid need of your consumers, which are the brands. You need to present them with ideas, with solutions beforehand, rather than just waiting for them and, rather than just waiting for the download to come into you and then you start working. It will, I would say it will waste a lot of time, and also it won't build confidence between you and the brand and for you scaling up your business, right? So that's very, very important.
So like we sell bridal lehengas which are about 2 lakhs to 3 lakhs, and we have to customize for each customer because each bride is different, right? And what she's thought about and what she has dreamed about for her wedding day. So that's where I think some of the personalization also comes in, where the culture is different. Someone's sleeveless, someone wants it covered, someone's full sleeve. So it's all different. So there we integrate with our manufacturing, which is our own in-house in manufacturing. So that helps. But if we have vendors who can, help us customize for the customers, and that's what customers are looking for. They want personalization. They want that something is not just taken off the rack. It's made for them. So we do made-to-order designs. So that helps.
Hi, my question is to Rohit Singh or anyone on the panel who wants to take it. A brand, Tommy Hilfiger or Calvin Klein, do you all have a measure on the customer loyalty or the brand loyalty or the retention of a customer who shops there?
Well, I think a short answer to this question would be the measure is the bill value. A current measure of our loyal customers spend about 2 times every time they walk into our store than what a regular customer does. So that's one measure of that we keep a track of. More than necessarily, retention of a customer, we also look at, because we are a fast-growing brand, and as people's income levels are rising, there's a lot of customers who are upgrading from a brand that was in the same price point. So that's another measure we look at, is how many customers are we acquiring, because we know that we will continue to lose brands, some top customers because they want to upgrade, they want to move to some more premium brands. But I think the bigger playground is where the lower price point customer is, and we are aspirational for them, and how many of them are we able to convert. So these two.
Do you measure the repeat purchases of a particular?
Yeah, we do that, but we don't break our heads beyond a certain point over that subject.
Thank you.
I can answer that question for Rohit, because we have worked with their CRM and loyalty team. They have an insanely powerful return customer base. So they have members. So you can't just become a part of their loyalty program. You have to spend at least 10,000 rupees, if I'm not wrong, in a single bill value. It's higher, right? So you have to do certain action for you to be able to become a part of the program itself, right? So that's the moment when he spoke about NFT, right? The moment you commit that sort of money in one go, you're already committed to the brand, right? So the repeatability, the return rate of those customers who become a part after investing such a high amount of money to be a part of the program like that itself creates that recall value wherein you want to come back and utilize those benefits again, right? So that's very unique thing which Tommy and Calvin as a brand has done it to basically enroll customer in a specific way, unlike many other brands who enroll customers for every transaction. Even if you make like 1,000 rupees transaction, you sort of become a loyalty program.
Hi. My question is related to the customizations. We all are talking about customization, and especially in the ethnic wear also. But what I see is that it's mostly towards the luxury side when the product is on the higher price point. How do you think that the customization can even be there for the products and the price range which usually are ready to stitch, which are not ready to stitch and are currently ready to wear, and covering the tier 2 and tier 3 cities there? Because customers doesn't understand and they will not be willing to invest that much of money in a customized product if it's very costly. How do you think the companies are thinking towards that?
See, first is it's not about customization or customizing a product. First is breaking your own paradigm, our set of thinking that this customer would not understand this, or this set of consumer or this set of market would not understand this. So it's about what the consumer journey has been. If, for example, if you're a pure play casual brand, in whichever price point that you operate out of, if somebody has, in very, very simple terms, I'm breaking it down. If somebody has only bought, let's say, top wear from you, how do you ensure that, that customer also experiences the other half of the product line which you have, which is bottom wear? That's very, very important. So that is where the customization would come in, wherein what sort of color, what sort of styles that customer is looking at, and what is the best ensemble you can create for him or her. And when I talk about paradigms, it's our set form of thinking, which, when you said that, a certain category of consumer, how much time to invest, honestly, the more time we invest on our consumers, the better it is going to be for us in the long run.
Absolutely right on that part. But right now, the way we have seen post-COVID, that the people have moved to e-commerce just because it's in COVID, being present online is much better way for the brands to sell and have sales. But in that rush, a lot of time you skip a lot of steps that are actually needed and to give a perfect experience to the customer. But I see as even in very small and in a medium-sized brands also, they are not covering that journey. So it's very good to say that yes, we have to look at and follow that entire journey. But still those brands are not covering that. So if a brand has to actually to be in the competition and to achieve that, how do you think that can be possible? Because every time you don't have a scope of investment.
It's realization that, that customer is there and it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's your customer. If you're not going to tap into him or her, somebody else is going to come and, take that share or wallet share from you. So there is no, we can't really turn away from it. We have to address this. There is no other way out, to be honest.
और मिडिल ब्रांड्स, जो ब्रांड्स के पास इतना ज़्यादा फंडिंग नहीं है कि वो रातों रात अपने फैशन और ट्रेंड्स को चेंज कर सके, उनके लिए कस्टमाइजेशन पर्टिकुलरली कभी पॉसिबल नहीं है कि वो एवरी टाइम कस्टमाइजेशन कर पाए. द बेस्ट दे कैन डू इज़ फॉलो द लेटेस्ट ट्रेंड्स एंड प्रोवाइड दैट प्रोडक्ट्स. और वो कंज्यूमर जो है वो इतना ज़्यादा कस्टमाइजेशन ढूंढता भी नहीं है प्रोडक्ट में, बिकॉज वी हैव मोस्ट ऑफ आवर स्टोर्स इन टायर 2 सिटीज़. सो वहाँ पे कस्टमर आके कभी उस तरह का कस्टमाइजेशन नहीं मांगता कि मुझे कॉलर अलग चाहिए, ये अलग चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं. दे जस्ट लुक फॉर द लेटेस्ट एंड मोर फैशनेबल ट्रेंड्स. So if these brands can follow the latest trends and the upcoming trends, they will always have their place in the market.
And communicate it, that is what I said. So you need to communicate the same, your product innovation to the consumer.
I'm getting a lot of eyeballs from different people to stop the session now because our time is up. So thank you so much everyone for wonderful session. I would request everybody for a big round of applause for the panel.